children! And sadly, after so many years of looking over this series, it's time for us to bid farewell to Rachel Rising, the imaginative and horrifying tale of a dead woman who wakes up and rises from her own shallow grave.
How do you kill the devil, my children? After the revelations from the last volume, that Rachel and Lilith are sisters, that they need to stop Malice from initiating the apocalypse, and that Zoe may give birth to the Antichrist, well, that's a tall order. Lilith is wondering if Zoe's joking idea, throw him into space, doesn't have some merit. Pay the right people, and there are certainly rich assholes out there, to go into space and push the box out. Let him float in the endless vacuum without anyone to leap his spirit into. And Lilith even begins preparing a special brew to help with containing him. And then has to murder a neighbor who inquires about the old man whose farm she acquired, who threatens to call the police.
Nosy neighbors, am I right?
Then again, even killing Malice might not be enough to stop the apocalypse. He had said that Zoe's Antichrist was just one of many options before him. What if some of those other options are already out there, ready to end everything? And even still, Malice is infecting people, causing them to go mad with despair. Though Rachel still thinks that hope is the thing that can overcome that darkness. Or maybe ghosts can do it. Remember Carol Palmer, the author whom Rachel suspected may have murdered her at the start of this whole thing? He finally returns home from his trip, and he sees the little girl that had guided Rachel to the spot, though his groundskeeper cannot.
This plot point goes nowhere. I'll explain in a bit.
Aunt Johnny calls in Rachel about her own investigation into her murder. Rachel's murderer was a serial killer, so she looked into any unsolved murders similar to hers, and she found 3 victims. 2 were identified and their bodies returned to their families, but 1 remained a Jane Doe that Rachel might be able to use to learn something about her attacker. She can remember some more details. A heavyset fellow wearing an executioner's hood and some shorts who strangled her from the grave. But nothing else, really. Oh, and speaking of plot points that go nowhere, remember that lady from the last volume who recognized Lilith? It seems she saw her as a little girl working in her father's company. The company was going under, but the president of the bank, someone whom Lilith had known 60 years ago, saved it. The old lady intends to prove that the Lilith from her childhood and the Lilith she met are the same person.
But not here. Again, I'll explain in a bit.
Rachel tries to use her psychic powers on the skeletal remains of the murdered woman, but it doesn't work. Aunt Johnny theorizes that there is a scientific element to this, that she needs more organic matter to touch to gain insight, but there's nothing left in the bones. Or maybe there's a time factor before the soul leaves and she can't access it anymore. But it's a moot point as she then checks another body, one that Malice had killed in the body of a woman, and Malice sees Rachel looking back at her, informing her that he's coming for Zoe and her. Rachel informs Lilith and Zoe about this, Zoe inadvertently touching a plant that Lilith had grown that causes her to hallucinate. Unfortunately, her hallucinations cause her to try to kill herself, slicing her own throat. Rachel and Lilith spot Mama lie near Zoe's body and quickly retrieve her, healing her in the house. Lilith declares that she's going to end Malice now, that this all began with her sleeping with the devil as an angel, and now it's time to put a stop to it. She manages to locate Malice, sneak up on him, kill the body, and then stab him with the knife Malice had given to Zoe, which apparently destroys him.
It was apparently pretty easy to kill the devil. Who knew?
The body is struck by lightning, a blast that makes a hole all the way to hell and sends Malice back to it. Lilith feels so good about the whole thing that Rachel asks her who killed her, and she actually tells her who did it. And it was not Carol Palmer. It was, in fact, a cop, one whom Malice had already maimed in an earlier body. Rachel had been walking home from the bar when the cop, who had already been stalking her, tased her, brought her to the woods, raped her, and then murdered her. Rachel goes to him, using witchcraft to subdue his wife while she threatens him. She intends to use an extinct moth that will lay its eggs in his brain to kill him, but it seems he had a gun under his pillow and shoots her, while she tears his jaw off with a hammer. She manages to get outside, where Mama Lai, the spirit of death, is waiting for her, but it was not quite the end yet. She wakes up in the morgue next to Zoe, who informs her that Malice had 7 children and that Lilith says they have to go find them.
So, as you may have noticed, this conclusion feels very rushed, almost like this was all supposed to happen much later, but the book got cancelled, so I had to wrap it up quickly kind of way.
Sales for the series were apparently very low, but Terry Moore had said that he really wanted just to end it because of how dark the book was that left him feeling drained emotionally. And so it ended, the major plot points wrapped up, but leaving a few things unresolved. Still, this was not the end for these characters, since a lot of Moore's comics all exist in the same universe. So the characters returned in the pages of Strangers in Paradise, 5 Years, and a full-on sequel for Zoe in the book Serial.
But those are comics for another year, my children. For now, though, Rachel Rising was a series that definitely deserved more acclaim and attention when it was new. We can enjoy it even for the brief time we had it. Ah!